Welcome to Weekly Briefing. I'm your host, Rion. Sexual conversations with your child is the hill Democrats have chosen to die on. No wonder Harvey Weinstein and Joe Biden are Democrats. Theirs is the party of perversion, and they're proud of it. Here's a middle school teacher in Burlington, Vermont, on how to better teach sexual attraction to middle schoolers.
This is a fabulous educational tool. The Gender Unicorn! Ta-da! Okay, I don't know if you all have seen this before, but yes, all of the spirit fingers for the Gender Unicorn. This is a fabulous, fabulous tool that we use in educational settings to talk about gender identity and gender expression.
This is one of thousands of examples. Most natural parents are outraged, accusing the left of promoting a form of abuse known as grooming. So what is a groomer? Basically, it's someone who picks a vulnerable child, pretends to be their friend or mentor, normalizes sexual topics and behavior, and primes that child for abuse, all while making the abuse seem perfectly normal. Here's a drag camp in Seattle normalizing 12-year-old boys finding their inner drag queen. Now, trans activists are fighting for what they call trans-inclusive healthcare for kids. Joe Biden supports this.
The idea that an 8-year-old child or a 10-year-old child decides, I decided I want to be transgender. That's what I think I'd like to be. It'll make my life a lot easier. There should be zero discrimination.
Zero discrimination? This is how groomers do it. They give despicable acts linguistic makeovers. It would be one thing if this was about mental health care, but no. Right there, Biden means actual chemical castration, puberty blockers, and gender surgery. The left's term, trans-inclusive healthcare or gender reassignment, are literal euphemisms for genital mutilation, among other permanent forms of gender assault. So yes, grooming children, we're beyond that. They've groomed us all. The trans movement is assaulting our kids with gender mutilation right before our eyes. Castrating an 8-year-old is not about making his or her life easier. A lifetime of hormone treatments and psychological trauma is not easy. It's abuse. The act is assault disguised as help for the children. The language is an assault disguised as virtue on our intellect. But Biden's support doesn't stop with simply preventing discrimination. Last month, in honor of the Transgender Day of Visibility, the Biden administration sent a memo explicitly endorsing gender mutilation and hormone treatments on minors, defining affirming care to include surgeries on children, dividing the types of surgeries into top surgeries, chest or breast implants, and bottom surgeries, surgery on the reproductive organs of children. Lawmakers in red states have scrambled to make such permanent treatments on children illegal. Newsflash, mutilating children under the age of 18 is already illegal in the United States. You can go to prison for 5 years for cutting the reproductive organs of a child. This isn't hyperbole. The Biden administration is endorsing an actual federal crime, specifically the crime of female genital mutilation, known as FGM, a barbaric practice exercised by some Muslim cultures. Here's the U.S. State Department laying out the official U.S. position on genital mutilation. The U.S. government opposes female gender mutilation no matter the type, degree, or severity, and no matter the motivation for performing it. It goes on. The U.S. government understands that FGM may be carried out in accordance with traditional beliefs and as part of adulthood initiation rites. Nevertheless, the U.S. government considers FGM to be a serious human rights abuse and a form of gender-based violence and child abuse. And before you say this is just for girls, well, using the trans activist logic, if a biological male wants to remove their private parts because their true identity is female, don't they fall under the anti-genital mutilation law as girls do? Or is the U.S. government discriminating here? Violation of the law is punishable by up to 5 years in prison, fines, or both. There is no exception for performing FGM because of tradition or culture. Cutting and other procedures that injure the female genital organs of a girl under 18 are prohibited under U.S. law. No exception because of tradition or culture, huh? So what's the difference between gender mutilation and trans-affirming surgery? Culture? Either the FGM law is racist against cultures that practice it, or Biden's healthcare for trans kids agenda is a violation of US law. It can't be both. Now, trans activists will say this isn't the same. Trans surgeries are voluntary, they'll shriek. But until 12-year-olds are considered old enough to make decisions like enlist in war, such a biologically damaging decision isn't theirs to make. The reality is, trans activists pushing gender mutilation on children are aiding and abetting in crimes against humanity. And if the trans movement is about normalizing child mutilation, the trans movement belongs in the eternal flames of hell. Why would the President of the United States support such a radical agenda? It's easy to say, like all the other big issues of the day, he's just following orders. He's the whipping boy of Obama and AOC. But in this case, it's even more simple. Before Biden became the masterpiece in senility he is today, he was a bona fide creep, a Class A pervert. Watching this week's clips of the ignored dementia patient wandering around in the shadow of a shadow government King Hussein Obama, it's tempting to feel sorry for old Joe. Don't. Your sympathy is grounded in your remnant memories of sweet old grandpa. Joe Biden isn't your sweet old grandpa. Everyone gets old, even perverts. Spare him your ounce of sympathy, if only in honor of his victims. Remember Tara Reade? Her credible allegations of Biden's disgusting assault as senator on a young staffer in a hallway? Remember his own daughter, Ashley Biden, detailing in her journal bizarre episodes of showers with her dad? And what about Biden's uncomfortable fascination with the hair and necks of women and children? Biden is the groomer-in-chief. He's open to the language of fellow groomers, but sympathy for groomers only enable them further. Look at their newly nominated Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, America's queen of child porn apologists. Just this week, it was revealed she doled out a lenient sentence to Leo Weeks, who violently raped a 13-year-old. Weeks, within 1 year, was charged with another attempted assault, but dared to oppose, like Senator Cotton did, Judge Jackson's record of enabling abusers, and you're a monstrous subhuman.
It shows you who this little maggot-infested man is.
Do you see the pattern here? Downplay abuse, normalize perversion, attack the objectors. But it goes further. Dare to push a law banning child gender surgery and treatment in your state, and you'll be in the crosshairs of the Biden DOJ. The day Biden sent out that memo endorsing child gender mutilation, he also made sure to have the full weight of his DOJ behind him. Here's Biden's Assistant Attorney General, Kristen Clark. She issued a stern warning to all states' attorneys generals against blocking the transgender agenda. Preventing trans youth from accessing gender-affirming treatments would, in the Biden DOJ's eyes, violate anti-discrimination laws under Obamacare. But the Jeffrey Epstein killed himself pro-pedophile media fully backs this pro-grooming position. Here's a New York Times opinion piece insisting treating trans kids is not experimental. Their basis? A study of 70 teenagers who surgically removed their reproductive organs. The study had a 21% dropout rate and 1 participant died. Statistics 101, always judge the sample size. This one is so small, it's insulting. So don't be fooled by their wordplay. Their true motive isn't about protecting the gender identities of children. This is about satisfying their own warped perversions. And if you want to take it a layer deeper, it's about canceling reproduction. This is population control. Sterilize your children, abort your babies, discourage nuclear families, and encourage non-reproducing unions. Don't let them get away with this. Don't let them get away with terms like gender-affirming healthcare for children. Call it what it is: gender mutilation and child abuse, illegal under current U.S. law. Don't give them an inch in the language wars. As this issue illustrates, lose the language war, lose our children. And that's my opening argument. When we return, we discuss another cultural war zone with Ken Cuccinelli, the disaster at our southern border, and how it's about to get a lot worse. We'll be right back.